pride will keep you jobless. Welcome back to AI Takeover, Jobs Lost, Jobs Born series. I'm Adeline Atlas, 11 times published author, and this is a mirror, not for the system, not for the economy, for you, because we're not just losing jobs to automation. We're watching people choose unemployment over evolution, not because they're incapable, but because they're unwilling to adapt. And the root of it isn't fear. It's not confusion. It's not lack of opportunity. It's pride, and pride will keep you jobless. Let's start with the psychology. When someone has spent 10, 15, 20 years building a career, getting degrees, moving up the ladder, it becomes part of their identity. Their title is who they are. Their resume is their reflection. Their salary is their scoreboard. So when the world shifts and that role becomes obsolete, it doesn't just challenge their income, it shatters their ego. This is the core crisis most people are facing in silence. It's not that the opportunities are gone, it's that they look different, too beneath them. And rather than pivot, rather than retrain, rather than step back in order to step forward, many would rather collapse quietly than face the social sting of starting over. But here's the brutal truth. The system doesn't care how long you've been in your field. The machine doesn't care how hard you work to get your credentials. The market doesn't care about your pride. It only cares whether you still produce value in this new context. And if the answer is no, then you are no longer the asset. You're the liability. The irony is, the more prestigious your role once was, the more difficult it becomes to pivot. Why? Because the fall feels bigger. The story you told yourself was grander. The emotional distance between six-figure consultant and entry-level prompt engineer feels humiliating, even if the salary is similar, even if the new path leads to stability, even if you'd be better off. Because pride whispers, I'm above that. Pride says, I'm not learning that tool. I'm not joining that platform. I'm not doing what the younger crowd does. And while you're defending your image, someone else, usually with less experience but more flexibility, is passing you by. We see this every day. Former executives who won't start over in AI-driven roles because they're used to being the boss. Journalists who refuse to adapt to content automation because they're clinging to legacy prestige. Teachers, lawyers, designers, even doctors, insisting that their human expertise is sacred, while the machine outperforms them on every metric but ego. And this isn't about age, it's about mindset. I've seen 25-year-olds paralyzed by the fear of pivoting out of a college degree they no longer believe in. I've seen 55-year-olds completely reinvent themselves as digital creators or tech architects. Pride doesn't respect age, pride respects illusion. So let's get tactical. If your industry is being absorbed by automation and you're still holding out hope that things will go back to normal, you're not loyal. You're delusional. You are betting your future on a fantasy that the system will pause for your comfort. It won't. The transition already happened. The layoffs already started. The AI integrations are already live. Your department didn't restructure. It replaced you. Softly, silently, strategically. And you have two choices. Pivot or perish. Pivoting doesn't mean giving up. It doesn't mean abandoning your career. It means evolving your value to match the demands of a new ecosystem. If you were in law, learn to work with legal AI systems. If you were in medicine, start learning how to supervise diagnostic tools and patient data interfaces. If you were a writer, become a narrative architect across platforms, learning how to prompt, refine, and direct machine outputs that still require human soul. But if you sit there, arms crossed, waiting for someone to beg you to return to your old position, you're finished. Because no one is begging. The position is gone. And here's where pride becomes the coffin. Most people won't job down. They won't accept less pay, less prestige, or a temporary dip in status, even if it leads to long-term viability. So they stall. They scroll. They blame the economy. They blame the government. They blame the tech. But never the ego. And that stall? That's what kills momentum. Because the future moves fast. And if you spend 6 months mourning a title, you're already outdated. Let me say it clearly. The longer you wait to adapt, the harder it becomes to re-enter. The people moving now, retraining, reshaping, rebranding, are securing the footholds of the next economy. The ones hesitating are building a gap between who they were and who they could have been. Every week you wait widens the canyon. Now let's talk about the people who are adapting. They're not necessarily the smartest. They're not the most educated. They're the most fluid. They understand that in a system where everything is changing, identity must be flexible. They don't say, I am a graphic designer. They say, I solve visual problems, sometimes with AI, sometimes by hand. They don't say, I'm a teacher. They say, I translate information into learning, on any platform, for any age. That's the new identity. Function over form, output over ego, adaptability over pride. Because here's what's true now. Your skill set is less important than your adaptability. Your experience is less important than your speed. Your credentials are less important than your ability to pivot without emotional collapse. Let's go deeper. The system doesn't care if you were once successful. It doesn't care about your back in my day stories. It doesn't even care if you were at the top of your field. If the field has moved and you haven't, you are standing on empty ground. It is pride that keeps people clinging to dying roles. Pride that makes them scoff at new tools. Pride that convinces them they're above starting over. But here's the harshest truth of all. The people you once looked down on are the ones replacing you. The social media manager you dismissed? Now she's leading an AI marketing team. The intern you barely mentored? Now he's a product manager for an automation platform. The tech kids you ignored? They're not kids anymore. They're building the systems that now run your old industry. And they don't need your resume. They have models that perform at scale. They don't need your approval. They've already bypassed the gate. They don't need your mentorship because you were too proud to offer it when it mattered. So if this stings, let it sting. Not to shame you, but to wake you up. Because this isn't personal. It's structural. The machine doesn't hate you. It just doesn't need you in the same way anymore. And the only thing standing between you and your next role is the version of you that refuses to change. Hi, I am Adeline Atlas, 11 times published author, and SOS, School of Soul has a brand new series, the AI and Future Technology series. Look, you know the world is changing. And no, it's not going back to normal. Normal is over, and what's coming next is beyond anything we were prepared for. The School of Soul, AI and Future Technology series includes 319 videos on 1. The Download Society, How Data Has Replaced Destiny. 2. Predictive Future. Your next moves aren't random, they're forecasted. 3. Social Credit Systems. The behavioral economy now governs access. 4. Hive Mind. Synthetic telepathy and collective algorithmic control. 5. Nanobots inside you. Medical, military, and programmable intrusions. 6. Grief Tech. AI-fueled digital resurrection and simulated comfort. 7. Uploading your mind, consciousness transfer, and data-based identity. 8. Deep fakes plus AI clones, the replication of reality and identity theft. 9. Quantum humans, the merger of biology with quantum systems. 10. Digital afterlife, where your data goes when you die. 11. Resurrection science, reviving life through synthetic methods. 12. Immortal science, the end of death as we know it. 13. Longevity science, gene editing, anti-aging, and bio-upgrades. 14. Designer babies, engineered perfection before birth. 15. Artificial wombs, birth decoupled from the female body. 16. 3D printing, printing organs, limbs, and even humans. 17. The humanoid era, the rise of synthetic beings among us. 18. Legacy humans, the slow phase-out of unmodified analog people. 19. Smart cities, algorithmic environments that watch and decide. 20. Cloud-based societies, citizenship without borders or bodies. 21. Hackable humans, emotion, memory, and behavior under code. 22. Biometric scanning, your body is your password and your prison. 23. Sex tech, intimacy reprogrammed by machines. 24. Extinction of gender, fluidity, deletion, and design of identity. Every topic is fully explored with real-world technologies, patents, case studies, ethical analysis, and future forecasts. These aren't someday discussions. This is already happening. Join the SOS School of Soul Vault to overstand the future before it's implemented on you.